Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Tim from the Cam Compound and it's time for a daily technical analysis video. So there is some good news. Let's not jinx it, but Jerome Powell has said that he is considering taking lower increments in the interest rate hikes. So that means 50% or not 50%, 0.5% increments instead of 0.75. And that means that maybe, just maybe, we might be getting closer to the point where they stop and maybe even the Powell pivot where we start cutting the rates instead of increasing them. And that would mean capital or money basically flowing more freely, which is what we need in order to, well, foster risk assets, which of course Bitcoin is still seen as, and as the past couple of months probably have shown us that that is kind of fair, especially with SBF and Do Kwon and everything. It's kind of fair that crypto is seen as risk assets for now. Of course, Bitcoin isn't crypto, but that is a whole different rabbit hole. Let's dive into the charts. We see that the market reacted favorably to this news. We see that we moved up quite a bit. We even broke through the 16,700 and the 17,000, but now we are back under. We tried to break through properly, but were rejected just under the 17,600, couple $100 short, and now we're moving back. So what is really important to keep an eye on here? What is really important is that, well, preferably we close above 17,000. That would be great. That would not be a confirmation yet because we want to see a second green candle closing above the high of this candle here, which is 17,250. Basically, we want to see a close above that for proper confirmation, but we do see that we are kind of staying above the 16,700, which is an important level for us to keep. Why? Well, because we see here this is a resistance level. We broke it, or we tapped it here, we tapped it another time here, so we have like 3 taps. It is a proper resistance, broke through. Now we have to show that it became support. If you break through the roof, it becomes the floor. If you fall through the floor, it becomes the roof. Fairly simple stuff. Really, that's the main thing that you need to know in the markets. The rest, it's additional. So that is kind of what we're looking at the moment. We want to confirm above 16,700 and 17,000. Then the next important point that we have been talking about for, well, this whole span of time. So since basically like a third of the way into November, since the crash of FTX, basically 17,600 is important because it was the low point of our previous range. Now the main part of the range was here between, let's say, 19,000, approximately 18,500 and 22,500, but here is the start for us to get back into it. So you can imagine that there's a lot of selling pressure here. We might even move up to it, bounce back, kind of start making a cup and handle. Wouldn't be perfect, wouldn't be great, but it's about the closer it is to it, the better the chance of winning it. If we do break through, then we have this diagonal trend line right here, which would be the next important thing. We've talked about that at length as well. So let's grab the other chart that shows our plans there. There is this is the wrong one. This is the one that I have open right now. That's what I meant to do. There we go. There is still a decent chance that if we do hit that 19,000 approximately, that is where we see some new bearish movements come in if we don't manage to break this trend line right here. And then if we sweep the lows, we might just break down towards 13 and 12K. That is not necessarily my base case. It's not what I think is most likely, but it is likely enough that we have to consider it as a real scenario, and then we may just crash back down here towards that 8.5k. I think there you go. Yeah, that 8 to 8.5k ish. Probably if we do get there, we won't be there for long, as well I for one would be selling my kidneys to get more sets that cheap. I wouldn't actually, and please don't do that, but for the gist of it. So we probably shoot back up then, if that is the case. If we immediately go back to 20k, we'll see, because that is of course more than 100% gain. Um, but it's about the idea, eh? That is kind of what we have to look out for if we do break through over the coming days. Now, that is kind of it for Bitcoin, what we're looking at. You could dive into the 4 hour, but this is really the main gist of it, what we need to know. Let's move on to Ethereum. ETH USD. We see that Ethereum actually is a bit stronger than Bitcoin at the moment. Here we kind of have like the same shape and form of what Bitcoin was doing. Actually a bit more like this. But we see that Ethereum broke through. It is in a decent uptrend currently, and it broke its diagonal line without too much of a fuss. Now, we still have 4 hours at the time of recording before the day closes. So if Ethereum closes under, there's a good chance it will go back down to 1220 approximately, because there's not a whole lot in between. We could make a pit stop at like 1230, 40-ish. Yeah, yeah, 1240, 1250, but this will be the main magnet that will be pulled towards this and the uptrend. Now, that might just create a bit of a triangle to trade in between, but it wouldn't be a great sign for Ethereum and for the alt market in general, because that follows Ethereum. If Ethereum does manage to stay above and then confirm tomorrow, same thing, want to close below, want to close above the high of this candle right here to confirm decently, then we might just move up all the way towards like the 14,000, 1425 area here-ish, and maybe even a bit further towards that 1540 approximately here. That depends. That will depend, but that is still quite far away. First, we have to see how we go into the weekend. And then, of course, December is generally not a great month either, because a lot of the funds will be selling their positions in order to make their cash targets at the end of the year. It's just the way it is. That is what we're looking at here in Ethereum. In the alt market, let's look at a couple of trades. Unfortunately, this is not what I meant to grab, but that's fine. We see that DYDX did manage to break its downtrend, but now we'll have to see if it can consolidate here properly and if it can confirm. So we'll have to see, because there is the resistance right here at 1.9. It's decent. I want to see how that develops. If it does come back, we might just pick up a bit at about 1.7. But I would still kind of prefer to do that here at 1.4, 1.3, which is fine. XRD is having some trouble, as per usual. Another day, another low for XRD, although today we didn't make a low, but it is still definitely moving downwards, as we can tell. ADA didn't change that much either. It did break through its downtrend, which is great. If the market can continue, because we see it bonked its head here against the resistance at 32 cents approximately. If it can break through, we might just continue on towards this downtrend here around that 38 that we talked about. But it would have to show some power, and that is kind of where the rest of the market is at as well. We have a good candle upwards, but now we need to hold and we need to confirm. Otherwise, it's just been a good day, which is fine, but we would prefer it to continue on and make it a great week and a great month. Also, happy start of December, everyone. It's the holiday month. Hopefully everything goes well for you and you have some great time with family over the coming weeks. Family and friends. And otherwise, you're welcome to have a grand old time with us at the camp compound. Which you are, anyway. So, AVE is doing alright. Broke through its resistance. Retesting beautifully. This is what I mean when I generally say that I love AVE. It trades so cleanly. It's makes my heart warm. We kind of see the same thing, the same theme running through the market. We see Matic had a great day, is now consolidating, but just under its resistance. So we'll have to see if there's enough oomph in the market to really continue onwards, to really carry it out. We want to see things confirm. But that's fine. Chili's is having a bit of a rough go of it. It does have a channel downwards on the 4 hour. It's not perfect, but it works. for our purposes there, and it is really trying to make that shortfall happen, so there is a chance of it booming up over the coming couple of days, but it will have to really start doing so soon because there's a new downtrend starting in, and that might just push it under its support here, and that would be a shame because then we'll move back down further, which I would, rather it didn't. Otherwise, it would be maybe a decent entry right here, but it's a bit risky, so I wouldn't share it. If you want to take it, you could. I'm not going to share it in the group for the moment, I think. TRX, let's have a look. TRX is doing decently. Let's move back to the daily chart, actually. We see that despite having a somewhat consolidatory consolidation pattern here after a dump, it did go back up, just not that convincingly just yet, and there's obviously here the resistance that it is bumping up against right now at 0.055. That is kind of that. Link is doing quite alright as well, of course. Link's staking chain, or Link's staking, will go live on the 6th of December, so that is next week Tuesday. Yes. So Link has probably already had most of its run. I don't know exactly how the tokenomics of the staking will work, so there is a slight chance that it will continue higher afterwards, but I doubt it because generally speaking that is a sell the news event. But if Link does come down, which would be quite nice, we could maybe pick some up at 6.7 or maybe even 6.25 is kind of what I'm looking at, because I kind of like Link and it is still a very, very strong project, despite that it's a little older, relatively speaking, in the crypto space. So that is definitely one to keep an eye on, folks. I quite like it. That is kind of what we're seeing in the market currently. So, you know what to do. Keep calm, keep cool, keep compounding, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.